You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
TikTok has been in the news several times, often because of cybersecurity and spying concerns raised by the United States government. In 2022, the app was banned from use on any United States government device, and several states followed suit, restricting the use of the app on state issued devices and state networks. A lot of the official talk around the Chinese social media app since then has continued to be about cybersecurity and spying risk. But the focus has shifted from government apparatus to private citizens instead, with Senator Marco Rubio attempting to pass a bill banning the use of the app on United States soil, with arguments pointing to TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, having ties to the Chinese government. After several failed attempts to ban the app from the United States, the new Restrict Act, ostensibly targeting cybersecurity threats, is being pushed by the same people that previously advocated banning TikTok. It has far reaching consequences for social media and harsh punishments for violators. The new legislature proposed to give the United States Secretary authority to execute bans or exclusions on any information and communication technology product and services holdings that pose undue or unacceptable risk, with unacceptable risk and exclusions to be determined and recommended by the Secretary of Homeland Security, the Secretary of Defense, or the Director of National Intelligence. The bill allows any attempts to circumvent the exclusion or bans using a VPN or proxy to be punished with a fine of upwards to $1 million or up to 20 years in prison. According to the bill, the process and actions taken are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act, which generally allows citizens to request and audit certain public dealings. Exemption from FOA or the FOIA concerns many people, including notable repair advocate Louis Roseman. This exemption could give the government alarming control over online interactions with little to no transparency. The Restrict Act could theoretically be applied to everything from citizens, corporations, and organizations to labor unions. To be fair, the bill does clarify that anyone prosecuted under the act must engage in activities and use the technology to harm the United States government, according to the conversation between Newsweek and Senator Mark Warner. Unlike previous proposed bans backed primarily by the Republican Party, the Restrict Act currently seems to have a decent amount of support across party lines. So let's just speed through and just go over the interesting stuff, right? So we're at section 5, which is considerations, right? Priority information and communications technology area. In carrying out sections 3 and 4, the secretary shall prioritize evaluation of number one, information and communications technology products or services used by a party to cover transactions in a sector designated as critical infrastructure in Policy Directive 21 as of February 12th of 2013 relating to critical infrastructure security and resilience. Number two, software, hardware, or any other product or service integral to telecommunications products and services, including A, wireless local area networks, B, mobile networks, C, satellite payloads, D, satellite operations and control, E, cable access points, F, wireline access points, G, core networking systems, H, long, short, and backhaul networks, or I, edge computer platforms. Number three, any software, hardware, or any other product or service integral to data hosting or computing services that uses, processes, or retains, or is expected to use, processes, or retains sensitive personal data with respect to greater than 1 million persons in the United States at any point during the year period preceding the date on which the covered transaction is referred to the Secretary for review, or the Secretary initiates review of the covered transactions, including A, internet hosting services, B, cloud based or distributed computing and data storage, C, machine learning, predictive analytics, and data science products and services, including those involved in provisions of services to assist a party utilize, manage, or maintain open source software. D, managed services, and E, content delivery services. Number four, internet or network enabled sensors, webcams, and point surveillance or monitoring devices, modems, and home network devices, if greater than 1 million units, have been sold to persons in the United States at any point during the year period preceding the date on which the covered transaction is referred to the Secretary for review or the Secretary initiates review of the covered transactions. Number five, unmanned vehicles, including drones and other aerial systems, autonomous and semi autonomous vehicles, or any other product or services integral to the provisions, maintenance, or management of such products or services. Number six, software designed or used primarily for connecting with and communicating via the internet that is used by greater than 1 million persons in the United States at any point during the year period preceding the date on which the covered transaction is referred to the Secretary for review or the Secretary initiates review of the covered transactions, including A, desktop applications, B, mobile applications, C, gaming applications, D, payment applications, or E, web based applications. Pay very close attention. They'll tell you some stuff. Number seven, information and communications technology products and services integral to A, artificial intelligence and machine learning, B, quantum key distribution, C, quantum communications, D, quantum computing, E, post quantum cryptography, F, autonomous systems, G, advanced robotics, H, biotechnology, I, synthetic biology, J, computational biology, and K, e commerce technology and services, including any electronic techniques for accomplishing business transactions, online retail, internet enabled logistics, internet enabled payment technology, and online marketplaces. So, pretty much what they're telling you is at the end of the day, theoretically, right? This could be implemented to pretty much cover any and everything. It literally told you that. It told you all of the systems that it covered. It doesn't matter if it was made back in 1993. It will cover everything. When it basically stated that, hey, we're going to, cover things, any objects, right? Let's say like modems for Comcast, AT&T, T-Mobile, whatever it is. If you have an internet connection, you have a modem, right? That has information directly, on it. So it holds information from the stuff that you watch on, Netflix, when you surf the web on your TV, when you surf the web and you connect through your cell phone, when you surf the web directly on your game system and different things of that nature. It hosts and it holds that information and it sends that, back and forth, right? This is how they get the analytics so that Netflix knows, what specifically to send you because you clicked on this, that, and the third. Or this is how Google knows, hey, it seems that you like fast food a lot. So we're going to give you advertisements towards this certain type of fast food that you like. Hey, you don't really like Chinese, but you like American. We're going to send you more stuff about McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Subway versus, send you stuff about, Asian restaurants and, and different things of that nature. This is how they send different types of ads directly to you. This is again how in the background a lot of these companies, a lot of these computers that we have, including our own cell phones, this is how these companies are able to make money off of us even while we sleep. And people don't even understand or know that they host and sell and trade your information for a buck. So every single thing that you do on your cell phone, when you're talking on it, when you're browsing on it, when you disable an ad, when you click on an ad, when you pass over an ad, when you stay on an ad a little bit too long, or for some of your phones where you have eye tracking or face tracking, it monitors what you're actually specifically looking at, right? They have all of these systems in place, and people don't even realistically, understand how vast, the systems of analytics and technology and AI, how all of these things, culminate into one point. And the main thing that I'm trying to make people to understand here, so that people can, in a sense, get a reference point. Go back to 9/11 and think about the Patriot Act, right? They told you that they had to do the Patriot Act because there was a great enemy directly out there. It was a faceless enemy, right? That's the main thing that they told everybody. They got everybody hyped up on fear and all of this other type of stuff that they directly sent out to the people so that we could all fear and look at one person as the enemy, right? And during the time of the Patriot Act, they ended up passing and doing a lot of underhanded things, right? So above ground, they were like, hey, we need to put up security. We need to do, certain things in order to fix a problem that is here, that is persistent, that is present, that could potentially take untold amount of lives. And people during that time frame, it was like, okay, well, if it's to save the life of my family, my kids, my home for this country, I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to give up pretty much all of my freedoms in order to make sure that we're going to be free, right? Everybody did it. But behind the scenes, what people didn't know was that the government was already doing a lot of underhanded things. They were already looking and listening to, your emails, your voice recordings. They were reading your text messages. They were listening in on your phone calls and everything like that. They had a lot of things dealing with AT&T and all of these telecom and telecommunications places that were, giving information directly to the government to allow them to spy directly on the people, which they were not supposed to do, right? So now we're at round two, where it's the exact same thing. It's just not as in your face, right? It's not in a sense a 9/11 esque type of situation, but they've tried to blow the whistle. They tried to sound the alarm in order to make people fear, 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 and look over here at this enemy versus looking at the government yet again and everything that they were trying to do. So the face of the enemy that they're making at this moment in time is China, right? And the biggest threat that they're saying that is to the American government and to the soil and security is TikTok, right? So now they want to enact this law called the Restrict Act, which pretty much covers any and all technology. When you go through it, it's pretty much any and all technology, including game systems. Why would you need to sit up there and put game systems in there? Huh? How does that even make sense? What big threat is there when it deals with game systems? Right. But this is how far reaching they are with a lot of these things. But like I said, this is in a sense a little bit more in your face because they're telling you, right? And they've tried to make it seem as though, hey, this is the big major threat. We got to sit up there and worry about them and all these other types of things. Let me let y'all know something. If the American government actually realistically found that China was some type of threat and they were worried about the intelligence, they were worried about them spying, ask the United States government why is it that back during 2000s they allowed all of these companies to outsource, right? They allowed all of these companies to go over to China, go over to all of these other countries and start building stuff for cheap with cheap labor. If you were really worried about telecommunications and China spying, why not have cell phone companies actually build the cell phones in America? So therefore, where the technology is coming from. You know exactly how it works. You know where all of the information is going to be hosted. It's going to be hosted on American soil. You'll have, all dibs directly on it. So why not do that? Why allow another entity to have hold over the cell phones, over the game systems, over the computing, over your blender, over your washing machine, over your refrigerator, over the game system, over your webcam? Pretty much all of our technology comes directly over from China. But yet they're stating that China is the greatest threat when it comes to our national security and the security of the American public. How? How is that possible when we are still importing pretty much all of our stuff from China and other nations? How? But yet you're not doing anything to implement brand new jobs to incentivize these companies to bring factories right back to United States soil. You're not doing anything to incentivize homegrown tech or entrepreneurs that want to start tech companies or anything. You're not doing that. Every other nation is incentivizing people from all over to come to their nations, learn there, create business there, formulate business relationships there, open up a factory there, start creating tech there. Every other nation is doing this. The only place that's not doing it is the United States. And yet you want to sit up here and try to use China for the reason that you want to have full on control over everybody's information. But at the same time, as I keep telling people, who watches the watchmen? If the United States government will be able to have this type of control over the people, who is controlling the United States government and watching what it is that they are doing on the 9 through 5 phones that they have, on all of their computing devices? Who's listening to their phone calls and reading their voice messages? Are they going to be abiding by and following the exact same rules that they're passing on to us? No, they're not. They're going to have a different set of rules. There's always been a different set of rules. There's always two sets of rules, a rule for us and a rule for them. So, like I said, this is why people need to pay very close attention to the government and the things that they are doing. If these things are not directly in the spotlight, they're not in the spotlight for a reason. So while we're all focused on the same old, meaning men versus women, women versus men, red pill, blue pill, black pill, manosphere, feminism, all this other type of stuff. Like I told y'all before, during the pandemic, the Coliseum is open, right? This is what that looks like when a Coliseum is open. You're not really going to be paying attention to information like this, nor really is mainstream media going to put this in blinding, blaring lights, nor are you going to hear any celebrities outspoken and really trying to blast this all over the place on their social media platforms. They're going to be talking about the same old, trying to captivate everybody and keep them in the same box so people ain't actually out there listening and critically thinking about the stuff that's going on.